It's that time of the year again, the giving season, and Grammy Award-winning artist Shaggy is extending his benevolence into the new year with the continuation of his biannual concert, Shaggy and Friends. This year, it will take place on January 2nd at Jamaica House, on the lawns of the Office of the Prime Minister in Kingston, Jamaica. All proceeds will benefit the Bustamante Hospital for Children, which is the only children's hospital in the English-speaking Caribbean. Fellow junior broadcasters Serena Thomas, Nicole Hubka, and Devin Tyson were at the King's Theater for the December 13th Shaggy with Friends concert and got a chance to speak with Shaggy about his Shaggy and Friends concert moving forward. Take a look.
But love is a beautiful thing. If you have love, put your love sign up, son.
Hi everyone, this is Serena Thomas with the KiDz HuB Media Network, alongside fellow junior broadcaster Devin Tyson with the one and only Shaggy here at the King's Theater in Brooklyn, New York. So first off, how does it feel to be back in Brooklyn performing at the King's Theater?
Brooklyn. They call it home away from home, you know. This is where I started, what I say, my dancehall career. And so, you know, I remember this particular King's Theater back in the days when it was a pretty abandoned place. And so it's nice to see that they've refurbished it and make it such a classy venue. So, yeah, you know, it's always good to just come back to Flatbush. You know what I mean? I still haven't gotten rid of my ghetto pass. I've been back and forth, even though it's not as ghetto as used to know. I'm seeing a lot more Caucasian these days around it, you know, so it's quite a different vibe.
So, now you have the 5th staging of Shaggy and Friends on January 2nd. So what exactly does this concert mean to you?
Well, Shaggy and Friends is pretty much a concert series in aid of the Bustamante Hospital for Children. This is our 5th installment of this event, and it really just kind of started organically, just out of impulse, I would say, from my involvement with the Bustamante Hospital out of pocket for probably around 9 years prior to that, by buying beds and equipment and fixing the roof and building a park and stuff like that. And then I met a little young girl her name was Peach, and she had a bullet stuck in her head. And at that point, you know, I decided that I wanted to do something else. So we started to just do the concerts, and they've grown now to a size of where, you know, last year we had about 13,000 people on the lawns of the Prime Minister's office, and that lawn is getting very small right now, so, you know. So it is very dear to me, you know what I mean? And all proceeds go towards the Bustamante Hospital. You know, we're building a new cardiac ward. Last 2 concerts was in aid of the cardiac ward and giving funds for that. We're partnering with Gift of Life and Chain of Hope and Digicel and a couple of other partners to create the first cardiac unit in the English-speaking Caribbean. So, and we're well on the way where that is concerned.
So what exactly influenced you to do such amazing things for the people around you?
I've been asked that question so much time, and it's only one thing I can tell you: because I can. That is it. You know, if you find yourself in a position where you can do things and make things happen, and you have the power to actually bring people together and make it happen, then why not?
So over the years, you've become very successful. How does this success in your career keep you motivated to give back to your community?
There's always motivation. You know, I live in Kingston, Jamaica, so the motivation is all around. You know, you look around and you see that there is still need. You know, Bustamante Hospital services somewhere in the neighborhood of about, on an average, about 200 patients a day. You know, that is unheard of. Most major hospitals here do probably around 50 to 60. We're at 200 during Chick V time, when in Jamaica they were going somewhere around 400 patients a day. So that is not a problem that will ever be fixed. You know, it just has to be managed. You know what I mean? And the more awareness we give it, the more help. This year we have people like 2 major corporate sponsors that have nothing to do with Jamaica, which is iHeartMedia. They're coming in and broadcasting on over 115 stations in major markets. The concert will be heard by over 125 million. There's also a text line. With that text line, everybody will be able to have the opportunity to text up to $9 on that text line. You know, all of that is sponsored by Fiat, which is a major car company that don't have a Fiat in Jamaica. So all of these people are people who I have somehow managed to convince to come on board for this great cause. You know, Fiat have come on board and actually paid for all of that airtime to the amount of money that Fiat has spent on getting the airtime for us to get the word out on a major scale is probably more than we've ever made at Shaggy and Friends. So, you know, the more awareness we bring to it, hopefully, you know, when we're successful at this year's event, at this next installment, I should say, we can probably involve a major television network as it grows bigger and bigger, and probably even tour it. You know what I mean? And that way, bigger revenues can be brought in to help a hospital that pretty much caters to every single Jamaican and the Caribbean.
So earlier this year, Ray Jean, one of our junior broadcasters, interviewed you at the Youth View Awards. And you had mentioned the work that you had done with the Lupus Foundation, giving back through Food for the Poor, as well as the charitable work that you do with Shaggy and Friends. So starting in January, our network is launching a campaign called 52 for 52, which honors one kid a week for 52 weeks that gives back to their community. So what message or advice do you have for the youths around the world who want to follow in your footsteps and do amazing things just like you?
Well, like I said, the thing that we do is basically raise awareness. The awareness is not just letting people know where the problem is, but it's also creating an example for them to follow. You know what I mean? You know, Shaggy and Friends and the Shaggy Make a Difference Foundation wasn't a foundation that was created because I wanted to create a foundation. I just wanted to help a hospital, and I wanted to keep a concert. And you know, William Mafood, who is his family was the founding family for Food for the Poor, told me that I have to have a foundation in order to give money like that. And that is pretty much what we do. We have to form a foundation. I didn't know the first thing about forming a foundation, so they guided me on it. And then, you know, the rest is history. We do a lot of work for Food for the Poor. We've built houses in Haiti and continue to do amazing work in Haiti. I do fundraising for Food for the Poor. I've done it on probably 3 occasions so far. There's also Chain of Hope, which is an organization out of London with Dr. Yaqub, who is Sir Madgi Yaqub, who was knighted by the Queen. And what Sir Yaqub does, he's one of he's probably the best heart surgeon, cardiac surgeon around the world, in the world right now. And what they do, they go to third world countries and do cardiac surgeries on little babies for absolutely free. They do it in Jamaica every year to 30 to 40 babies for free. We facilitate them at Shaggy and Friends and work with them closely. And so I just did their fundraiser for them in London probably a couple of weeks ago. So it's an ongoing thing that we do for different charities. So, you know, to all the kids, the youths, them who basically, and any other artists who want to get involved, just pick a charity. It's easy to dig 1 hole 6 feet deep than dig 6 holes 1 feet deep. You understand?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, before we go, I'd just like to congratulate you for all the work that you've done. You know, you're such an inspiration to people all over, you know, doing good for your community, and just great work that you're doing.
Thank you very much.
No problem. So this was Serena Thomas with Shaggy at the KiDz Theater in Brooklyn, and stay tuned.
Yeah, yeah. Only love, love, love. Reggae people again. Where my reggae people at? Where my West Indian people that know about love? Where my New Yorkers that's about love? Give it up for G Noble. Couldn't be here tonight. Give it up for Pitbull.